to film another video, but honestly, I'm pretty excited about recording this video because it is very near to my heart. It is such divine timing that nearly 4 years, I think there's only about a week and a half left till it'll be 4 years exactly, that I moved from the US to this little town, little big town, all the way in Spain, in Europe. And 4 years later, I'm preparing to begin writing a book. I'm preparing the travels that are coming for the year 2020, which is actually going to be a notch up from the travels of 2018 and 2019. So, in case you don't know, I am originally from California and I have a Mexican background. My grandparents, they're from all parts of Mexico, here and there, and great grandparents are also from different parts of Mexico. So being from California and having Mexico right next door, we share a border with Tijuana. Mexico was my first trip as a baby. I traveled, I think I was 2 years old, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. The first time I left the country. So we've had Mexico right next door and with family still there, although not immediate family, but cousins and second cousins of theirs and of ours, aunts and uncles. It's always been somewhere that throughout our lives we've touched base. We've gone back, we've seen family, we've seen, some of the sites and had a couple family reunions over there. And I've been blessed. I've been blessed to be around the language. I've been blessed to see parts of Mexico, the beach, the mountains, some of the important sites. I was a baby, but I was there, Just to give you an example, the Basilica de la Virgen de Guadalupe. So this is our Virgin Mary that was seen in Mexico by an Indio, by a man who, for all intents and purposes, had no reason to make anything up to anybody about what he saw, about who appeared to him, about the Virgin, about Mary, Mother Mary showing up and saying, build me a church here. And I would go back to this church when I was studying in Mexico during my university years. So over 20 years later, back at the same church, although I didn't remember that I had been there before. And then now, having gone through basically 4 years of a spiritual awakening, going on 5 years really, I have come to a place again where I understand the purpose of growing up Catholic. I understand the purpose of having these figures, the figure of Jesus, which I call Yeshua, the figure of Mother Mary, which is Miriam or Maria, and many, many different names for her. I've understood that I needed to go away. I needed to go all the way to Spain to become independent, to heal a lot of wounds from religion, heal a lot of wounds from growing up Mexican American and everything that entailed. struggle to be one or the other, struggle to speak good Spanish, struggle to be relevant in places where being a woman and a woman of color, you weren't as relevant, you weren't as seen. And I would say that Spain particularly called me back, and I've made another video about this, which I'll make sure to link it here if you wanted to see that. Spain was part of the story from the beginning. Because if you know anything about Mexican history, and if you don't, I'll share with you, we as Mexicans are a blend of European colonizers, native peoples, native brown peoples of many different tribes that were all over the Americas in what now is considered, the country of Mexico, and also African peoples. So 1492 is the year that who we call Columbus arrived to the Americas, and changed their history forever. Changed the history of my ancestors, changed the history of the world that we know it, the world as we know it today also. And, he was sent by the Spanish crown. He was sent by the royals of Spain to bring back bounty, to bring back whatever would honor them, gold, silver, precious metals, precious jewels, and any and everything that they saw worth something. Bring it back on the ships. And of course, at that time in Spain, everything was very, very tied to church, very, very tied to Catholicism, to Catholic religion, to the Pope, to all these things. And that means that they also sent priests, they also sent people, that they, I guess, felt could spread a religion that they believed in, or that they practiced, or that they believed was the religion. Funny how a lot of religions believe their religion is the religion. And they don't want to see all the similarities between different religions, between different faiths. So from the 15th century on, started with the Spaniards, rape and pillage and discovery changed the history of my ancestors, changed the history of all of the Americas. Of course, they thought it was for the better, bringing civilization, bringing, God, bringing sophistication and weapons and tools and things that these lowly people don't have access to, don't even know what they are. Poor things. They're just free and wild and connected to the land. Poor things, they don't have God, you know? They don't have civility. Um, Poor things, they don't have guns. Poor things, they don't have, the sophisticated clothing and outer appearance that we have. And the ironic thing is that for the most part, natives all over the Americas welcomed these strangers that were coming to their lands, these strangers that were showing up that looked different than them. And they knew about them very, very early on when they would land on a coast by ship. They knew. They had messengers, they had systems to decide what they were going to do, how they were going to receive these people, these foreigners, these strangers different from them. And what a lot of people call destiny, I would call a probable past. Because there were infinite probabilities and possibilities of how that interaction, that meeting of blonde and blue-eyed and, dressed from head to toe soldiers could have met with these simpler, but extremely, extremely wise and extremely advanced at what they did peoples. What they did in terms of following the cosmos, following the stars, following their messengers, these gods and goddesses that they believed in, that they spoke to, that they honored. Not so different looking up into the sky and speaking to KUKULKAN than somebody looking up to the sky and speaking to God. Not so different. I'm not going to change the past. Although the past, the way people perceive it in different parts of the world, is incredible. It's incredible how many people argued with me, couldn't see truth when I was explaining to them a perspective they were not aware of, because their history books have told them Cristobal Colon, Christopher Columbus, was a hero, an incredible man, someone who needed a statue in every freaking plaza in fucking Spain. Their history books paint him and the royal family a certain way. And how many centuries later we are still ignorant of the truth. So many people in this world are still ignorant to what colonization actually was. And not just colonization in the Americas, but colonization, mostly European. I'm just going to focus on them. Going into Africa, going into the islands, going into so many, many parts of the world, in Asia, India, and just ravaging, ravaging, taking, never giving back anything that was worth a damn. You know what they gave? You know what they gave? They gave slavery. They gave us a system that was never meant to be the way people live. Disconnected, working 40, 50, 60-hour weeks, 1 week of vacation a year, mortgages, minivans. They gave us enslavement of mind, enslavement of heart, enslavement of religion, enslavement financially. I had no idea the implications of that action, that first step of saying, I can't do a 40, 50, 60, 70-hour week and feel like a whole person. I can't do a job that I don't care for. A paycheck is not worth my sanity, my health. And my heart has always wanted to travel, has always wanted to see more parts of the world, has always wanted to be free, crossing borders, be free, meeting and understanding different people, different perspectives, different parts of the world. And Spain was my window. Spain was my opportunity to say, I'm gonna take a break from this lifestyle in the US and see what else is available to me. Not that teaching was my life's purpose, teaching English to children, but you know what? It was my window of opportunity, and I fucking flew with that opportunity. Since graduating university, 2009, every single year I thought about leaving the US and teaching in another country. And I was going back and forth between Spain and Japan. And I applied several years to both. Except that for Spain, I never finished the application. So they never rejected me. I just would get so far and then I would not go through with it. Until the year 2015, 6 years after graduating. And in 2015, my spiritual awakening was the fuel behind this particular decision to leave, to move, to go, to fly, to be independent, and to be on this journey, this seeking, this grand magic carpet cabaret life that I've created. And I ain't saying there aren't any lows in the journey. I'm not saying that the carpet never ran out of gas. I'm not saying that the carpet never felt like it was about to crash and burn somewhere over the desert. In fact, it is the sum of all of my experiences, good, bad, ugly, that has made me truly appreciate how fearless I have been. how consistent I have been, how daring, how courageous. Not everyone says, yes, I'll take that risk. The ultimate leap. Not everyone is willing to leave the comforts that they know and love about their country, about the language they speak, about the surroundings, their family, their friends, partners. I applied for the job that I got in Spain while I still had a boyfriend. I looked him in the eye and I told him I want to move to Spain. And I had no idea that we would break up sometime later. I was willing to tell him my truth, even if it meant that he wasn't going to be on board with it. With me leaving halfway across oceans and all of that. But my gut and my heart have never led me further away from my truth. They have only led me closer and closer to my life's purpose. Live is long.